clerk and our treasurer in their absence. Today is Monday, March 9th, 2026, and this is the City of Romulus City Council Special Meeting Study Session. This meeting is to discuss consent agendas. At this time, we will have roll call. Councilwoman Abdo. Here. Councilman Bullock.
Here.
Councilman Jones. Here. Councilwoman Roscoe.
Here.
Councilwoman Talley.
Here.
Councilman Wadsworth. I saw that he was here.
He's here.
And Councilman Wilhide.
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum for tonight's special meeting.
Thank you.
Tonight's special meeting agenda is as follows. Number 1, roll call. Number 2, agenda. 3, discussion, consent agendas. Number 4 is public comment. And number 5 is adjournment, and a motion will be in order to accept tonight's special meeting agenda as presented.
So moved.
Support.
It's been motioned by Mr. Jones, seconded by Ms. Roscoe for the approval of this agenda for the special meeting. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Bullock?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Wilhide?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, City Council. We are now in discussion. As you could recall, on January 12th, we had a study session in which we discussed council rules and procedures in addition to council agendas. We wanted to, of course, at the behest of our Mayor Pro Tem, to have a separate study session just to go over consent agendas so we can explain the process, explain any common misunderstandings regarding consent agendas. And we have a quick presentation. So the agenda for tonight's presentation, we'll go over what is a consent agenda, why use a consent agenda, common consent agenda items that are not appropriate for the consent agenda, the pulling process, common misunderstandings, a summary, and then the next steps. So what is a consent agenda? It is a practice where multiple routine, procedural, and non-controversial items are bundled into a single agenda item. All items under consent agenda are approved with a single motion and one vote. The purpose of a consent agenda is to save time for deliberative discussion on complex policy issues and high-priority community matters. Now, even though the consent agenda is being approved under one motion, in the actual minutes itself, the consent agendas, every item under the consent agenda are recorded separately and in full. So it will not just show the agenda item, it will show the full action of that agenda item. So why use a consent agenda? 1 is operational efficiency. It reduces time spent on housekeeping items such as approving the warrant, approving minutes, other routine items. It is also widespread among cities. Now, most medium to large cities, in which Romulus is considered a medium-sized jurisdiction, in Michigan utilizes consent agendas to manage heavy legislative workflow loads. It also has a focused governance approach. It allows council members to dedicate more energy to legislative debates. The format is recommended by the Michigan Municipal League, and it is standard practice for many of our neighboring municipalities in Wayne County. Consent agendas communicate a modern, efficient, and policy-focused government. So these are some common items that are found under the consent agenda. You have the approval of your minutes, your regular meeting minutes, special meeting minutes, routine financial approval of financials, such as second reading of budget amendments. In other communities, they also include the warrant or approval of township bills, resolutions such as memorial resolutions, recognition resolutions, retirement resolutions, and that's if that information is provided to the clerk office prior to the creation of the agenda. Approval of permits such as no-fee permits, special or community event authorization, road closures, reappointments to boards and commissions, as well as special meeting requests such as study session requests. Now, in your presentation, I provided you an example of a consent agenda from one of our neighboring communities, which is Huron. If you look under the consent agenda for Huron, they include the approval of the minutes, they include approval of utility easements, they They include communications, resolutions, and reports, as well as the approval of township bills. Now, all of this is customizable to the local municipality. You can include whatever you want to include for the consent agenda. It doesn't have to be exactly as another neighboring community. Now, items that aren't appropriate to be under the consent agenda. There are items that require discussion or an explanation, controversial or high-impact decision items, new policies, ordinance, or major expenditures, such as the introduction of a budget amendment, expenditures over $12,000, and that's pursuant to our purchasing ordinance, new or amended ordinances, approval of bids or contracts, and then new appointments to boards and commissions. Those will not be considered appropriate to be under a consent agenda because it's going to require some discussion. I included in your packet a sample agenda. Now, what we did is that we took the regular meeting agenda from the February 23rd regular city council meeting, and we put it in a format of a consent agenda. Now, normally how this will go is that the clerk will announce the approval of the agenda. She will give a quick excerpt regarding what the consent agenda is, and then the items that are listed under the consent agenda. And then the chair or Mayor Pro Tem, whoever's chairing the meeting at the time, will ask the council if there's any items under the consent agenda that they would like to pull for discussion. If there are no items that any of the council members wish to pull, then it's just one motion, a second, and you will run the vote. And once approved, everything under the consent agenda is approved. And if you look from the February 23rd, we have 4 routine items that would have been approved under one single motion. Now, I spoke about items being pulled.
Question.
Yes, sir.
What if you want to vote against one of these things on the agenda?
You say vote against?
Yeah, like, I don't know, B.
So we pull it, and then we're going to still vote on it as a regular separate item.
Absolutely. So, speaking about the pulling process, now, every council member has the right to remove any item under the consent agenda for separate discussion. There's no vote required to pull the item. If a council member asks to discuss an item, it is moved to another section of the agenda immediately. And we included the next section, if you look at the sample regular meeting agenda, we have discussion items removed from the consent agenda.
Quick
Now-
question on
Yes.
that, through the chair. So, say we don't say anything before the meeting, and we get here, at what point can we pull that? Do we have to pull it before the meeting starts? Or when it's read off? How's that process go?
So the clerk will state agenda item number 3 is approval of the consent agenda. She will read the excerpt for the consent agenda and also read off every item that's under the consent agenda. Then the chair will ask the council, are there any items that anyone wish to remove for discussion?
Okay.
And that's at the time. You will say, I would like to remove item 3C. And then that gets moved to the next agenda.
Thank you for that clarification.
Now, the polling process ensures that even routine items can be scrutinized if a concern arises. So there's some common misunderstandings regarding consent agendas. One common misunderstanding is that consent agendas hide information. Well, in reality, consent agendas are fully published and publicly accessible on the city's website, and all supporting documents remain available for review. All the supporting documents for every single item in the on the agenda are included in the council meeting packets, and those packets are published and publicly available. So any member of the public can go on the city's website and look at all the supporting documents. We even include the language on the agenda itself next to that consent agenda item. And that language is all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by the council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion of an item is requested, it will be removed from the consent agenda and considered under the next agenda item. That's the excerpt that the clerk will read when she gets to that particular agenda. Another common misunderstanding is that items on the consent agenda are rubber stamped, when in reality, council members review all items in advance and retain full authority to remove any item for discussion. A third misconception is that items cannot be removed once placed on the consent agenda. Again, any council member may remove an item for individual consideration without even giving a reason. And lastly, another common misunderstanding is that consent agendas reduce transparency, where in actuality, the process actually improves clarity by grouping routine items while keeping all documentation open and accessible. So, in summary, yes, sir.
So, any item that comes up, if we want to remove it, in the debate on the question, we have questions about it, we can remove it and reset it up and discuss it later in the meeting.
Correct. It'll be removed to that next agenda item.
Okay.
So-
Okay, you said next agenda item.
Yes, so at the consent agendas, if you look at on your regular meeting agenda sample that I provided,
Yes.
consent agenda is number 3. Any items under that consent agenda that is removed for discussion will immediately be discussed under agenda item 4.
Okay.
All right, is there any more questions? Okay, so in summary, consent agendas give the city council a powerful way to run meetings that are more efficient, more focused, and more transparent. By grouping routine, non-controversial items in a single action, the city frees up valuable time for the issues that truly require discussion and public attention. The clerk's office ensures accuracy, documentation, and accessibility, while council members maintain full oversight and the ability to pull any item for debate. When used consistently and thoughtfully, consent agendas help the city deliver smoother meetings, stronger accountability, and a more responsive local government. So next steps. The next step is for council to consider if a consent agenda is even worth considering. If it's determined by this body that you would like to proceed forward with a consent agenda, the next is defining what are routine items. This is very important. So this helps the clerk's office with consistency in creating the agenda. We'll need to know what you will consider or define as routine. Is it second reading of budget minutes? Do you consider that routine? Approval of special events such as Pumpkin Festival activities, Sounds of Downtown activities, MLK, Juneteenth, those routine annual community events that are regularly approved by council. Is it board or commission reappointments that you would like to put under the consent agenda? That's very important in order for us to keep the consistency of the agenda. Now, if you look at your regular meeting agenda tonight at 7:30, if the consent agenda was the format in place, there are already 5 items that would have been under the consent agenda to be approved under one action, just as a tidbit. Another option for council is to put a trial period. If you're unsure and you want to test it out, we can do a 60-day trial period with the consent agenda format. And if council determines that the consent agenda is not effective for this body, we can always revert back to the regular meeting agenda. So for approval, the consent agenda, the format, whatever council approves, that format will be included in the council bylaws and procedures that was discussed on January 12th. And that will be submitted to council at the next regular meeting. Once that is approved, if the consent agenda is what council wants, then that format will be effective on the next regular meeting after the approval. So we're looking at the first meeting in April.
Through the chair.
Any
Yes,
questions?
Mayor?
So just looking at, for an example, looking at tonight's agenda, so under my report, items A and B would be on a consent agenda, and then the warrant, but you said 5 items, what would be the full 5 that would be?
So there are 2 items under agenda item 2, minutes.
Oh, okay,
The 2 items under your report, and then the 1 item under the clerk's report, which is a study session request. That's if council deems study sessions as a routine approval.
gotcha. What about you, the warrant? You said the warrant too, wouldn't that be on a consent agenda? or
If
no?
council determines that they
Right.
want the warrant
Okay.
under the routine, then yes. We didn't include that because based off of the conversation at the January 12th study session, I didn't believe there was an appetite for the warrant to be under the consent agenda.
Through the chair.
And I'm not suggesting we do that, I'm just,
No, you just
Trying to
asked.
get-
I know, I get it. Ms. Abdo?
One of the things that I have prided this administration in is that you have always pushed transparency. And I know you've brought this up, and transparency is a practice of being open, honest, and accountable in business and government. It means sharing the information clearly so that outsiders can see how decisions are made. Maybe to us, some of us, it's routine, but to the people watching this meeting, they want to hear what's going on. I don't agree with the consent agenda because I think we need to keep the transparency going. And people want to know. And I know you say they can go online and look. A lot of people in the city, especially I volunteer at the senior center, don't have that online ability. The only thing they see or know is what's here when they see before city council. And I don't think our meetings are that long. Our meetings last about an hour, so we're cutting off time so we can have a faster meeting. That's the impression I get. I disagree with
Through
them.
the chair.
Yes. Mr. Wilhite?
Me personally, I'm for the consent agenda, but I would like to state that on page 5, the resolutions, memorials, recognition, retirement resolutions, I think that should be excluded because that's a once kind of a gig and that should be addressed individually. But
And we don't have to have it a part of it. Yeah, that can be one of the things. And just to piggyback, as Dijon said, this is not trying to rush the meetings. It's to spend time with things that need to be spent time with. So when we talk about a no-fee permit, we don't want to make that a routine. I mean, it's nothing to discuss. It's a no-fee permit, which we always approve. For the majority of the time since I've been on here, a no-fee permit. People who are reappointed to a board commission, we always do that. I mean, what discussion do we need with that? I mean, it's no discussion, because we never discuss it. It just goes forward. So we're talking about routine, we're not talking about controversial stuff. We're not talking about stuff that needs discussion. We're talking about stuff we don't even talk about in a meeting. So we're talking about, again, reappointments. We're talking about no-fee permits, stuff that just routine. So just for the record, that's what we're talking about. We're not trying to rush the meeting. We want to spend time with, like you said, Dijon, with items that require attention and discussion. That's what we want to spend our time on.
Mrs. Allen,
Ms. Wadsworth.
if I can.
Ms. Wadsworth, your mic isn't on.
Oh, I'm sorry. My mic isn't on. Okay, good now, right? Okay, fine. We did this when I first got here, my first term, and the public came to us and said that they were tired of us trying to hide stuff in a consent agenda. That's what they told us. So in McAnally's second term, it was changed through Linda Chokes, where we went back to read every item. That's what the public wants to hear. They want to hear every item. And, you know, this isn't going to make it any more simpler. You know, Will Hyde wants this taken out, Abdul wants this, I want this taken out, she wants that taken out. I don't think this makes it any more simpler. I think we should keep it the way it is. We should read every item so the public can hear it. It's like we're trying, and this is the attitude that we're going to get. What are you trying to hide? You know, what was the number 2 and number 3? And we can tell them, well, go look on the computer at home and you can read it. We should pick every item up like since I first got here and read it. It's not going to keep us here that much longer, if it does at all. It's, I just don't think that we should make that, change. It's, the public wants to hear what we're doing up here. And I don't care if it's a simple permit or a no-fee permit, so what? Let the public hear what we're going to say, and that's how I feel about it. Thank you.
Mr. Bullock?
Yeah, through the chair, just, I think it's our job, first of all, if anyone's in the public wondering what's going on, it's our job to explain it. So I think this whole saying, like, we're hiding anything, I don't see where you're going with any of that. Approval of minutes, we're not reading the minutes, the entire sheet anyway, so why not put it in here and just move past it? Same thing with no fee permits. We're not reading the entire no fee permit, and, I mean, the public, who are we saying we're hiding anything from? We had 100 viewers last week when there was a protest, so, like, I don't know who you're saying we're hiding anything from. It's our job to tell people when they ask the questions, what's wrong. So, I'm completely for this. Let's move on to the next thing that we can actually get to business and not slow us down with the minute things.
I'm not saying we're
Gotcha.
going to hide anything from
You
anybody.
want to speak?
Yeah, I'd like to speak.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I'm not saying we're hiding anything from anybody, but that's the opinion that we're going to get from the public.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, I'm
Madam Chair.
done. Thank you.
Ms. Celeste?
In the beginning, when we first started talking about this, I had my doubts. But this explained it very clearly. And my main concern was, way you explained it is when it's read, whether it's you or Ellen, whoever's reading this, in the beginning is going to say underneath the approved consent agenda, and them items are going to be read.
Yes.
It's not like we're just approving the consent agenda and we don't know we're not saying what's underneath it. We're going to say the minutes, and the no fee permit, the study session, just like you have read here. We just don't have to go through the process of asking for a motion and a second and that little bit of time. And there's some meetings that run longer than others and some go really quick, and I agree with that. But this clarified it for me, and the fact that we can pull anything that we were like, why in the world is that underneath there, So I don't really have a problem with it. I was doubting it in the beginning, but this clarified it very well. And then anything that we're voting on that has to do with dollars and cents, which most people are more concerned about the transparency of where's my money going, is still underneath the reports, under the mayor's reports, under the clerk's report, or anything like that. So yeah, I think you explained this very well and did a very, very good presentation.
Yeah, you did. Mark?
Yeah, through the chair. The last thing I want to say about this is, I get calls from people, and I talk to people all the time about it also. And since it's going to be read, I don't see why it has to go any farther than that. But right now, we're so redundant, because if somebody makes a motion, I make a motion to concur with the mayor, and then, okay, we go, so he's read it, I've read it, and then you have to read it again, and then you're saying the same thing 3 times. And I think this would streamline things, and anything can be taken off, and you can pull anything for any reason, and
Thank you. And then, just for clarity, Dejan, we have a public comment for agenda items only. Is that for the consent agenda items?
That's include anything on the
So they can
consent agenda.
speak on those items if they wish to.
And then the council member, when we get to that item, if you have concerns based off of public comment, you could pull that item.
So they even get a say in the consent agenda items if they have anything they wish to discuss regarding the consent agenda items also. And then as Dejan, you did a great job with this. As you also said, if we want to try it for 60 days and just a trial period, I think we should at least give it a test and see. But again, this is nothing like, thank you, I like what you said, so that's dollars and cents. People want to know where their money. They're not concerned about a no fee permit, in my opinion. Reappointments, new board members, as you said, makes sense. Reappointments, okay, these are the same people who come back on these boards and can we just reappoint them? Non-routine, non-controversial things that we just want to move it along, not to rush the meeting, but to just spend time where we need to spend time on, so. Any other discussion,
If
Mr.
I can,
Wadsworth?
through the chair again. So Reverend Willis comes here for his no-fee permit for Martin Luther King next January. Does he get an opportunity to get up and talk about it? Or we're just going to say it's on the consent agenda
Well,
and we approve it?
this is where council defines what is routine. We don't know what is routine until you tell us what is routine. If you do not want the certain special events to be under the consent agenda, then this is something that we will need to know so that we can build the consent agenda based off of what council deems is routine.
If I can continue, but, I mean, if somebody's going to have a picnic, a block party, they want to get up and talk about it.
Well, those are different. That's a petitioner. They are petitioning council. That's not
But
routine.
they asked for a permit.
Right, but as a part of their permit is that they got signatures from the property owners that are affected by that block party.
But we're still going to issue a no-fee permit.
Correct, but the no-fee permit is also issued for Juneteenth activities. It's a no-fee permit to close the close Hunt Street. Same way with Sounds of Downtown. We only included no-fee permit because those are normally associated with those community events.
Okay.
Now, I gave examples, that the examples are not etched in stone. Council is the one that etched whatever that needs to be determined routine in stone.
Right.
Those are just what are common items that are found
Right.
under the consent agenda based off of surrounding communities, based off of the communities in Wayne County and other counties.
So if on this, consent agenda, item B, you got 3 or 4 people want to come talk about it, are we going to tell them that it's on here and that they want to talk about it?
So on the sample agenda item 2 is public comment for all items on the consent.
I'm not saying, sometime people come here and they want to talk on a specific thing before we vote. Are they still going to be able to get up and talk on a certain thing?
Absolutely. It's your meeting. So we won't forbid anyone from
But you're going to
making a
have
comment.
somebody out there in the audience after we take this consent agenda and say, well, I wanted to,
But I think that's no different than it being on a regular agenda and they show up after or wanting to speak after council takes
all right,
action.
okay.
Yeah, Mr. Wilhite?
And by no means, through the chair, by no means is this written in stone. This is something that is new to us, and we can form it any way we want to. This is just a
think it's very
suggestion on
confusing.
how, and it says right on here, the public comment, so they see what's on the agenda, they can come up and talk about it, but they get a chance, this time, they get a chance to talk about it before we vote on it.
Right.
So, it's not like in the regular where they come in and they talk, we've already covered a bunch of items, and then they talk about it after we've already voted.
And then, through the chair, and
Yes.
also on the sample agenda item, there are 2 public comments. There's the one public comment for members of the public to make their comment on items on the agenda, and then there's a second public comment, which is agenda item number 10, for them to speak or address city council for whatever they would like to address city council.
Through the chair.
Ms. Abdo?
I did receive numerous phone calls about this. They felt that Bob McCrate was hiding things. I told them that you were not even, I set them straight on that, Bob, that this was not from you, but that's the feeling that he and his team are hiding things, and that's why they're pushing this. I tried to explain that it didn't come from you, but when you get,
Sorry, Mayor.
I'm going to tell them they did.
I just let you know, Bob, I set them straight, but the thing is, that's how people are conceiving it. And unfortunately, you're getting the blame.
I'm
To the
sorry,
chair.
Mayor.
That's,
I'm
that's,
sorry.
that's fine, but this is your meeting. This is council's meeting,
Right.
not my meeting.
And
you're
that's
right.
what I
So
explained.
Somebody would figure them trying to hide something when, like you said, for the last more than 4 years, have been nothing but transparent.
I
You hope-
agree with it.
And so you're always gonna have some people that believe in the rumor mill before they wanna talk. So this is entirely up to you guys.
Okay.
I'm
That's the
supportive of
speech
council,
I
whatever you
gave them
decide.
about the transparency and, you know.
Ms. Roscoe?
Through the chair, well, first of all, I want to make a comment on Ms. Abdo's comment.
I'm just relaying to you
We've
what I
been
got.
sitting here forever, and even without a consent agenda, everyone always thinks we're hiding something,
Yeah,
always. So it doesn't matter if we have, in my opinion, a consent agenda, or if we came in and just said, you know, we're voting on the whole agenda, yeah, you know, or whatever. They're still going to think we're hiding something somewhere, but you always have the naysayers, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But because it's all read, and then what Mr. Wadsworth said about petitioner, you answered that question, because I was wondering about that myself. We still got our petitioners, like Reverend Willis, like on here, you know, Connie Cox, you know, had hers on there. So they still have their time to petition and talk about their event. But like I said, you answered my question with petitioner. But yeah, it doesn't matter what we do, somebody's gonna pick it apart.
Exactly.
And-
Madam Chairman.
But you explained this out really well, and I like the fact that it will all be read out. And the other thing is we never say to the public before we start all this, we never say, does anybody have a comment or a question or on the agenda items? We never ask that beforehand. If they don't come up and give a card or let you know that they want to speak on an item before we vote on it, we never ask them, and a lot of people don't realize that they can ask those questions before we vote. They think they have to wait for public comment and then comment on what we've already voted yes or no on. So I think that is a very good part of this consent agenda, is the fact that now we're going to open up to the public before we vote and let them know. And if they pick this agenda up back there in the back, when they walk in, they're going to see that and they, oh, I can talk about that before they vote on it. Not just come to, you know, make a comment after the fact. So I think, if anything, that is probably one of the best points of a whole consent agenda right there.
Mr. Wadsworth?
If I can, to the chair here.
Yeah.
You know, on a typical night, if I have 10 things in front of me, I usually have 3 or 4 items that I want to ask a question. It's not a long question, maybe it's a simple question. I'm looking for a yes or a no, or what date will be completed. So I got to tell, who do I tell that I want to take it off?
So I think those type of questions that you're talking about won't be under the consent agenda. They will be under the mayor's report or under the clerk's
You
report.
can't guarantee that there won't be something under the consent agenda that I want to ask a question about.
Then you have the right to
Yeah.
pull that item,
Right.
and it will go under the
You can
next
pull it.
agenda item for you to discuss.
When do you pull this item?
So when the
Before the
clerk
meeting?
announces, yep, it's at the meeting, when the clerk announces, agenda item number 3 is approval of the agenda, she will give her excerpt, she will, list all the items under the consent agenda, then the chair will ask the council, is there anything under the consent agenda that you would like to discuss? And then you will say, yes, I want to discuss this, agenda item 3C, which is such and such, and it will go to the
And
next
it's not
item for discussion.
discussion, we just say you want to pull it.
Yep.
It's not even a discussion, I want this item
I don't think it's
pulled.
going to speed anything up, and I think that we should keep doing what we've been doing for years, but I'm done.
Okay.
Okay.
Any more discussions?
So before we move on, since it seems like there is a consensus for this to move forward, we need to define what is routine. So I listed what are common, right? But what's common doesn't mean that it has to fit the format of this body. So I would need to know what is routine. Would you like the minutes under the consent agenda?
Can we do this, just to be, for the sake of time, can we facilitate with an email, have the council email what they think that would be more routine thing? Would that be a better way than try to figure it out in this session?
I
What do you
believe we
think?
could probably get it done real quick.
You think
I
so,
think we have
right
to take a
now?
vote in open session who's in favor of it, who's not in favor of it.
Well, the approval of the format of the consent agenda would be at the next regular meeting when we
Okay.
present the council rules and bylaws.
Gotcha. Okay, so, Mark?
I just had one more. On page 5, looking at this is a pretty good setup, I think. The only thing that I'd remove is the resolutions.
Okay.
Because, like I said before, the memorial and stuff needs to be addressed individually.
Okay. Okay, so you want to go through it right now?
Sure.
Okay. Any other anything that's root, you said you had a list, you said, John?
Page 5 of the,
This ain't got no page.
oh, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Through the chair,
Comment,
page
comment.
5.
Yeah, right here. Yes.
Ms. T, go back there.
It's on the,
Oh,
it's on the
okay.
monitor.
Thank you. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Anybody discussion, routine items?
For
Let's do it this
minutes.
way. Any issues with meeting minutes? Second readings of budget amendments. Mark, you already discussed resolutions. That was something you're not comfortable with, so that wouldn't be. No fee permits, road closures.
I don't,
Ms. Abdo?
I don't like putting special community events under that. I think they should be, like you were talking about, Bill, spoken about. That's where people get their information.
Like when you say, like, what do you mean, like?
Like when Reverend Willis comes before.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's under
That's where we
petitioner.
get.
That would be petitioner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a petitioner.
Curling contest, you know,
You want to speak, Mr. Wadsworth?
yeah, all the time.
Okay.
Was that
Keep it
through
up.
the, that was through the chair, of course,
Miss-
wasn't it?
Mr. Will High.
No.
Oh, you want to, okay. He being funny. But, so, no, that wouldn't be a part of that, Ms. Abdo. He would be a petitioner. Reappointments, anybody issues with reappointments? Special meeting requests. Because Stacy always brings her request for a study session for the quarterly investment, standard stuff like that. You
All
got
right.
it? DeJean?
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly what I need.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Roscoe.
Through the chair, I agree with Mark on the resolutions, only
Okay.
because a lot of times people actually know that the resolutions are going to be read or asked for, and they watch for it.
Yeah.
Or they watch it on YouTube or whatever for their loved one. And, or, special retirement resolutions, whatever it may be, so.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think those should be.
Agreed.
All right. So I believe we can test this out for 60 days, and then we will come back to get a feel for council to see if this format is something that you want to move forward, continue with.
And so you said the first meeting in April?
Well, it will be presented for approval at the next meeting.
Okay.
If approved, then
Then we'll
it
do
will
it
be the
then
first meeting.
with you. Okay. All righty. Any other discussion before we close this out? All right.
All
John?
right. So number 4 is public comment. This is the portion of the agenda for those in the audience who would like to address the city council regarding tonight's special meeting agenda. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Any additional time will be upon the consent of the chair.
There is no one in the audience, so we're going to close that piece out.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Number 5 is adjournment. The time is 7:24.
Support.
It's been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, seconded by Ms. Roscoe for the adjournment of this special meeting. Mr. Wadsworth? Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
You say, okay, Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Mr. Wilhite?
Yes.
Mr. Bullock?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, this meeting is adjourned. Regular meeting starts at 7:30, 6 minutes, 5 minutes.